Hi Libras, welcome to your July 2025 relationships reading. I'm going to timestamp below if you want to just skip ahead to the messages. We're going to use one deck to look back at June. When we connected then, we were talking about sort of someone else's need to learn lessons. So kind of stepping back and letting them kind of live and learn. And by doing so, focusing in on yourself, put the energy into you and versus them. So let's look back at June and see sort of how Libras did. How did your June go with your relationship space? And then we'll use the other decks of cards and some charms to look ahead at July. So let's see here. I might have to move the card just so this last one here is on camera. Okay, now we'll get July. Move those out of the way. It's interesting how they fit perfectly the first time, and then as videos keep going, they for some reason start going off camera. Okay. July. Libras, July, relationships. What do we need to talk about? What do we need to connect on? Anything to look forward to or get prepared for? Okay, now we'll get some more just additional clarifying cards. And then we'll dive into the charms and we'll get those. Come on. Fighting with me here for some reason. And the charms. Okay, they didn't like a lot of those, so we'll go a little deeper. Okay. Okay, we'll see where the charms want to start. Here we go. Oh, we got some luck coming up. Just moving that because I did feel it shifting. Don't worry, I'll go through that to see what they've discarded. I think you want the little flower. Okay. Discarded. 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 All right, so let's just tune in. We've got a swift change coming in. And then we've got a gift here, something new, a new start. Maybe some of you are moving into a new home, new beginning, definitely happening. Okay. And we've got some look, but we've got sort of a stop and change. So we've got change twice here. I don't know why I stood that one up. And I got some new charms, and it looks like they're using them up here. So we've got a decision that they're putting a spotlight on and pointing at it. I wonder what choice or decision you've made recently that they're trying to put a spotlight on. Okay. So Libras, we're gonna start by looking at June here. And like I said, we're looking back to see if you were able to just kind of let go, let somebody else kind of live and learn their lessons, and focus on yourself. So I do think you were successful, right? Here you are, and you're just letting them go, and off they go to kind of learn and explore. So this could be a a child, could be you supporting a friend in their next chapter. Doesn't have to be a relative. Could be a colleague that's kind of moving on and you're kind of supporting and maybe mentoring them and lifting them up here. So you definitely were able to kind of sit back. I don't think you were too happy that you had to just kind of sit and watch. But you did focus in, you did take this opportunity to focus in, so that's fantastic. I'm about, let me see, I'm 6 signs in here for relationships reading, and I'd have to say you're one of the first signs I've come across that said, oh, you put the work in June that the angels were hoping that you would do, which was, you know, focus on yourself and kind of let them go here, let them go off. So I like this new exploration that you kind of did, or at least started in June. You know, you're starting to kind of connect here and connect back with yourself. And, you know, now that I have this additional time, you know, now that I'm focusing back in on me, you know, what do I want to do next? You know, do I want to go somewhere? Do I want to do something? And maybe we'll see that over here in July. I think it's kind of the same here. It's interesting that the cards on the bottom here that they chose, they're giving me somewhat the same message, which is you're still kind of keeping your finger on the pulse here, right? You're still connected to this individual. So it wasn't a relationship that you ended. You just allowed them to move forward and move upwards. So you're staying connected. You know, you got a finger on your pulse here, but like I said, you're starting to dream. You're starting to allow yourself to kind of look back at your bowl of wishes here, your bowls of dreams, your bowl of passions. You know, what did I not do? Or, you know, what did I put on hold that maybe I can do now? That's kind of coming here out of this card. So let's jump ahead to July here and see where this is taking you. Where is this freedom, this new kind of manifestation that you've started, right? You're kind of looking and trying to figure things out here. Let's start with this choice up here. So we have a little choice that they're making sure they're using the shiny flower. So it's something unique to you. It could be a unique like a decision that either affects you uniquely, so putting your needs and interests first, or it connects to your gift, right? Your soul gift, your unique talent, a passion, you know, kind of revisiting something that you may have put on hold or had to give up, not pursue, and now you have the time to pursue that, the time and the freedom. And the angels are putting a bit of a spotlight on it as well. So that's why I really want to kind of more lean into this choice as, you know, maybe you had a fleeting thought of, you know what, I've always wanted to be a painter, so maybe I should do some classes. And your angels are like, yes, you know, that's your unique gift. That's your passion. It's something that speaks to your heart. So yes, do that. So they're shining the light on sort of this light of approval on this decision that you started to think about that is, you know, self-satisfying. And then sometimes I read this as a lightning bolt. Sometimes it looks like you know, a hand pointing, right? A finger pointing, and that's how I'm reading it now. And they're kind of pointing to this choice as well. So they're using, you know, a finger to kind of, you know, yes, you're right. You know, yes, that's the right choice. And they're also putting a spotlight on this decision here. Yeah, be brave was really kind of standing out to me here since I turned the corner on. But look, really what I'm drawn into is just how restful and peaceful he seems, and it's his hands. So this passion that you want to reconnect with, right? The kind of the relationship with yourself and with your own talents, your own kind of interests that you're drawn to pursue. There's definitely this approval here, Libras, for you to go ahead and do it, but I feel like it's something to do with your hands. I know the example I used was painting. I mean, this could be any type of craft or labor. I recently put up a clip from a client reading where we saw their fiance was getting back into their love of carpentry. So maybe you have a similar story. Maybe that's why I'm seeing it here with the hands. Maybe that's something you're sharing a similar journey where now you have a chance to kind of go back to something that you used to love or want to try. And they're pulling me down here to the hand. So like I said, in June, you might have had a fleeting thought, you know, I should do this. Yeah, I definitely think it was just like in passing. It was a thought, maybe something caught your eye and you're like, oh yeah, I remember I used to always wanted to do that, or always wanted to try that. Because your angels are trying to like stop you, right? There's that light again that they're shining on, and they're like surrounding you, trying to encourage you to go ahead, do it, you know, go ahead and do it. Really pushing you forward. I'm not sure why you're hesitating, because the angels are working really hard here on getting you to follow your heart here. And then down here we have a pause, a stop, a caution, a bit of a pushback. Things are already changing. You know, change is already in motion. So I don't know if you're trying to influence or try to stop change. You know, maybe you're trying to stop change from happening, but you can't. I don't know if it's coming back to June, this connection that's kind of gone off and they're exploring. But I mean, the other message could be, you know, stop delaying, right? Because I kept asking why your angels are pushing you forward so much. Like, change is inevitable. Change is good as well, right? This is a leaf, so it's just going to regenerate and you're going to get a nice, fresh, beautiful baby leaf. And as I say that, I'm pulled down to the transition here. So I do feel like it's like, stop trying to fight against change. Change is natural as well. You know, transformation is a beautiful thing. And there's positivity and luck coming out of this change. So maybe you're struggling right now with adjusting and adapting to the change. So for example, if you are the empty nester that now has more time on your hands with the child or children out of the home. You know, maybe you're a widow now or retired. So again, you have time to go back to a passion or hobby you haven't done before. But there's some very beautiful luck here with this transformation that's coming out of this natural change, this natural kind of milestone you're going through right now with as it relates to change. Okay. Doesn't it look like he's handing you the tool, right? The paintbrush, you know, the hammer, if it's a DIY, or a measuring tape, a ruler, you know, wherever it is you need for this decision up here. Again, you know, you've got two sets of cards focused on the same topic, which is go ahead and do it. You know, why are you holding yourself back? Why haven't you started yet? We like this idea. We like that you're thinking about doing that. Go for it. Like I said, there's luck here. You know, maybe the luck just means you're not going to fail at this. You know, maybe that's the delay. You know, it's been so long since I picked up a pencil and started sketching. And they're like, nope, pick up your pencil and start sketching. You know, passage of time means nothing, right? Not when it's your gift. A lot of bird imagery for you as well, this reading, Libras. So I don't know if you're getting surrounded by birds in your daily, throughout your day, but birds are often our our loved ones, our angels coming around. So this would be like a sudden uptake, like really noticeable to you that all of a sudden birds are just all around you, or really noisy around you, because they really want you to kind of shift out of this mood, this mindset you're in. All this blue here. Your other card, you were all wrapped in blue as well, right? And the angels were trying to usher you forward here, right? Look at all this blue. You're emotionally stuck for some reason. You're not pursuing the passion here, the decision you made of, well, I can do this now. And they want you to do it. They want you to do it so badly that they dedicated 2 piles of cards to that one message. Up here, we have something meaningful to you that's either lost or you can't find it. You're not looking in the right direction for it. This is a relationship reading, so if you're looking for that special connection, you know, if you recently lost love or feel like you're losing love, or you're looking for some love, you know, we'll see what the cards say. But there is an acknowledgement here of you either feeling like you've lost some love here, or you're looking for love. Can't find it, struggling to find it. I'm not sure why they're making her continuously slide down my finger here. Maybe you've been slipping backwards into some negative, either negative thoughts regarding relationships, or you've been reminiscing about relationships that you've lost or relationships in the past. And they're pairing that with your guardian angel, coming out with the very comforting feather here. Almost feels like a tissue box. Maybe you've been crying. Maybe you've had a heartbreak, or maybe you're going through a heartbreak here in July. Because your angel is definitely trying to comfort you here. Trying to, I didn't want to say wipe your nose, but that's what you do tissues for. But yeah, they're handing you, you know, the feather here like it's a tissue. They're handing you a tissue. So some kind of loss here that affects your heart space. Okay. I don't know if someone in your workspace has either moved on or moved up. They're really drawing me into the wealth story here, and usually the connection there is work then, because you know your source of revenue, and so you have colleagues here. So if you're missing, or you know your heart feels kind of, like I said, broken or missing. So maybe a colleague has moved on, or you were really hoping for a promotion and you got passed over for it. So sort of the headspace you're in. But like I said, there's comfort here from your guardian angel. They know that you were crying over this or hurt over this, will be saddened by this kind of departure, this ending, or ending by not moving forward, kind of thing. But I feel more like it's definitely not a family connection here. So it's either a friend is moving on, right? They have to change cities or whatnot, or it's a colleague. A colleague has kind of changed departments, or is at another company now, and so you're kind of losing that connection there, having to say goodbye to them. Okay. So we have some quick change coming in July. But I feel it's connected to your childhood here, only because we have your soul here bringing in your history on its back. The large turtle here bringing in a whole bunch of knowledge and wisdom here from your childhood. But there's quick change related to it. I wonder if it's doing the same thing that they did with the first group of cards, where the deck below is sort of more elaboration. You know, if this is a colleague or a childhood friend, the change is pretty quick. You know, the sort of the loss there is pretty quick and sudden, because there's history there. There's longevity there in this connection that's having a sudden change to it. Don't know yet if it's connected above, but there is definitely a big change to a long-term connection that you're having here that's pretty quick and sudden, spontaneous. For some of you Libras, this could be, you know, your relationship going to the next stage pretty quickly, right? You know, you just really feel matched and bond with your person, so you're moving quickly. Then we have the distance again here. We've got some distance here. I'm going quiet because I'm trying to see if the distance up here with the sort of the sadness or the little hurt to the heart here. I don't know if it's maybe because they've had to move a distance away from you, or there's now going to be distance between you and a connection. But again, I'm not saying as a negative thing, because this establishes a solid foundation. You know, it's the first step towards, you know, it's the first step on this kind of yellow brick road, right, towards abundance, prosperity, good things. So if you put some distance between you and somebody else recently, that's a good thing. Or, like I said, sort of the distance that's going to sort of be generated up here with the departure of this individual. This connection is going to be a positive thing for you, a new start. And I saw this in the intro here, this new start, this gift. At first, I thought maybe some of you were, you know, getting that new home with your partner. I mean, some of you can be. Some of you can be going to that next milestone, so engagement, marriage, child. But I feel like this gift of a new start also feels like it's coming down from your angels here. So I wonder if sort of this ending is a new beginning, right? When one connection departs from our life, it opens up opportunity for a new, deeper connection with someone. Same with Pisces. Pisces had the same guardian angel, and then my guardian, this is the card they choose, coming out back to back here. Libra. I wonder if this is the same story then, because Pisces had a very important person to connect with. And then I have distance here, longevity to distance, and your angels, right? The tissue, and he looks like he's frowning. I don't usually see him frowning, but you know, sad. There's sadness here. Sadness on a new start. Unless it's sadness that you feel that, you know, it's possible that you're going to have to head into sort of this next phase, next chapter without this person. And that's where this sadness is sort of stemming from here. Okay, then we have the page. So what's interesting is these two butterflies catching his attention, right? And butterflies oftentimes represent for me like loved ones that have crossed over. So it looks like you've got, if this isn't your two guardian angels that we just saw in the cards, you've got like two loved ones here. They're kind of stopping you from walking away, stopping you from leaving the party, right? He's got his cup and he's like, I'm out of here. But then they stop him here at the gate. No, we don't want you to leave. We don't want you to leave. It's like they don't want you to feel like you have to do this. Oop, whoa. For a fast cat, he flew out of my hand there. They don't want you to go at this. So, like, there's an independent spirit here, but they're stopping you. So they don't want you to go off solo. You know, maybe now you feel like, well, you know, it is what it is. Sort of the energy I'm getting here, like she's just, you know, it is what it is. They're pulling me back to this change here. But like this longevity of history of relationship, you know, possibly stemming back to childhood. Like there is like you are starting off here on your new start, and either you're going to put more distance between you and this connection, which is making your angels and you sad. And it's fine, you know, you're going to be fine if you move forward. You're just going to be moving forward without this connection, but they're stopping you. They want you to have this connection. You know, they want you to look for it instead of, or look at it instead of looking down and feeling like you're lost. You know, sort of demotivated here. You're demotivated because your heart hurts. But the distance has already started here, because I could feel them walking away from you up here. And then you're walking away from them down here, and your loved ones on the other side are stopping you from doing that. So there is this like parting of ways. Maybe this is specific to anyone that is Libra, having an issue with the Pisces in your life. Because like I said, those are the same two ending cards from Pisces. Maybe pop over and check out their reading and see if it connects to yours. But for those of you that this ending doesn't resonate with, this new start, like I said, it's very sure-footing. It's good for you. There's abundance, prosperity here on the top of the sandal. It's a gift. You know, it's a new start that feels like a gift. They just wish that you were sharing it, I guess. That's what I want to say here. You know, share this new start. You know, allow yourself to share this new start. Don't feel like you need to do this by yourself. And then also this message here on letting yourself do what you love. For some reason, you're kind of holding yourself back and not allowing yourself to just embrace and enjoy. So go ahead and do that. Let's connect back in August, and let's see how things have changed. Let's see if you're doing some kind of new passion, new hobby, and let's see if this next new phase that you've started out on here in your life, if you've brought this connection with you, this long-term important connection with you forward, or if you went solo and kind of disconnected for good from that person. So I'll see you next month.